I know these people are fans. It's like it's the only way they could get tickets.
Are you the assholes who talk back on the website, though? I'm not a fan of you guys.
Okay, do we have an asshole talkbacker in the audience? Raise your
Show yourself, motherfucker. Let's play.
Okay, there in the back is one asshole. Okay, awesome.
I'm kidding.
Oh, well, he's not really. He's just an asshole, but he writes on the side. But just so you know how big a fan he is, when I pointed out my wife to him, he said, "Oh, she wrote this great review about a Steve Martin banjo song, banjo CD," and I was just like, "That's so cool!" Like, not only does he know the site, but he actually knows something that I wish my wife wrote more of.
It's a great website. I read it every day.
Well, thank you.
You guys do too.
Yeah, every day. Cool. Question from the audience? Yes, they're in the middle. Yes, you.
Okay, I noticed you had a lot of callbacks to Forgetting Sarah Marshall in the movie. Was it tough to round it all to have Jonah's character from Forgetting Sarah Marshall run into Jonah and Albus in the movie?
That would have,
Shit.
reality would have
$48,000 that we could borrow to just shoot that real quick and splice it in.
Just do it like Indy style on video tonight and just play.
At the draft house?
Yeah.
Hey, it's you guys. I know you from what? Bye.
I don't think it would have been distracting at all.
Yeah. Just sitting in front of a huge movie screen.
Yeah.
On flip camera.
Over there?
Project.
I love your documentary.
It's called American Comedy Star. It's not. It's a new project. It's a 26-year project. That was a great documentary. I read what you read about that.
Very great documentary. Great.
But Russell's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sit and hang with him like this. He wouldn't be like, hard to talk to or, a huge character. I think that's definitely his persona, right?
Yeah, I mean, he has this, like, crazy hair, like, persona that is not, he's pretty, like, down to earth, and you just talk to him, and he's
What
very English.
At what point did y'all decide to spin his character off into his own movie? Where did that come from? What was the initial?
Well, it was actually at the first Sarah Marshall table read. I saw it, like, Jonah and Russell had really good chemistry. And right there I was like, that's a movie. I don't know what movie that is, but those two are a movie. And then during the shoot, I pitched this idea to you guys. And they weren't into it at all. But I kept pitching it. No, they were into it.
We wanted a new director, but we couldn't figure out how to get Nick out of his own idea.
Yeah, there was a lot of back channeling at Universal. I just couldn't. I was contractual. I have a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
And so it's all coming out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Nick pitched us this awesome idea. It was super crystallized. Like, you had the idea, and it clearly sounded fun and awesome.
Yeah. So
It's my way of view.
Yeah, and then we did it, and I wrote a draft of it, and originally it was going to be a different rock star, which seemed lazy. And so we decided to kind of own our laziness and make him a spin-off, and so we did it as a spin-off. And then we realized we couldn't spin off Joe's character because that character was a little bit, it would have been hard to have had that character in this movie. And so we decided to ignore
It would be weird to watch him for a whole movie.
Yeah, it would have been weird. So we decided to ignore that fact.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
We thought about somebody told me that this was like if Sarah Marshall was your first Eastwood spaghetti western, this is the second spaghetti western, and you are using some of the same actors as different roles, but you still have the man with no name, who I guess is going to be Albus in this metaphor.
I mean, Universal Clockwork Orange or something.
Universal like fuck with us. Like I was like, it's a 3-dude threesome. And they're like, no, that's not why.
There was various shades of cutting the threesome of like how uncomfortable can you push it. I think that's a good thing for you to elaborate on a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, we had different degrees of the threesome where it could stop immediately, to full, like, just sex happening and Jonah watching the sex happening for like an excruciatingly long time.
There's a very thin line between getting to the Greek and like the Nick Stoller threesome, yeah, and then like the Todd Salon threesome.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
Like
It is a big comedy. You have to keep that in mind. And you're like Nick and Rodney cut this amazing what I think is like the most uncomfortable scene ever, and then you test it and it's like people are literally like they can't even look at it.
I still want to see that.
I loved it.
I pushed for the editor to, like, I was like, yeah, just stay on Jonah's face watching the threesome for 10 seconds. And the editor was like, I don't think we should do it. I'm like, just do it. And then we tested it, and it was not good.
No. I remember you said that one of your inspirations are scenes from Marriage, which is like not a great sign for a major comedy, you know, when that's your guiding tonal.
Well, that's what I think is really kind of fun about the film is that y'all would go very outrageous, but then take it to a sweet spot in other spots in the film. That just like a concert scene at the end, but as you're walking through the crowd, there's a look on your face like all these people are having fun, and you're like really feeling that vibe as you're leaving it, and like, yes, I can get out of here, and that's nice. I mean, that's a really, it's not a shot that I necessarily was expecting. It's good.
I think that's Nick. I personally, as an actor working, these guys made the movie, and I'm just an actor in it, but they, I think Nick is a director. When you watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall in this movie, and Rodney is a producer, I think there's a really cool way of not being scared of sentiment, which I think is really ballsy in its own way. Because you want to be ballsy and go, fuck, I don't care, about making half a giant heart to the movie, but a scene like that is doesn't have a lot of laughs in it, but it's really heartwarming and not in a douchey, cheesy way, So I think so, So I think it's kind of ballsy in its own way to not be scared to give your movie a big heart,
So, Nick, this is a question for you. What makes your script for the greatest Muppet movie ever the greatest Muppet movie ever?
You think there was a good threesome in this movie?
Two Muppets and a human, I can't say anything else. I will say that
Gonzo, not having sex with his penis, I'll tell you that. I can go all day, baby, what you want? Big Mama's house, to the Greek.
Gonzo, no sex.